coffee up. I'm a little sleepy tonight. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully it's a good one. You know, I think if I can just stay on here, we'll get enough context just hanging out, talking, being us. And then if we're on long enough, some randos will jump on about 11 o'clock, maybe 11:30. Gosh, I don't know if I could do that. What's up, Shofar Plumber? What's up, Eric Striker? What's up, yo? Sheepdog Tanker. What's up? Rousey. What's up? Shalom, y'all. I gotta get that coffee on, you know what I'm saying? Yee. I'm probably gonna get a copyright strike because I feel like, oh, what was that? Oh, EDC's down. It's just EDC lighter with some duct tape on it, especially in the wintertime. Just in case. Thanks for the 5x5. Yeah, dude. We're gonna stay on tonight, just see what happens as long as I can. So we're just gonna hang out. You guys are gonna watch me be probably retarded. We'll talk about whatever. What's up, Journey of John, 360 Scout? Yeah, we're just gonna hang out and see what happens because I'm cooked. But hopefully, we're gonna have some new people pop through that are scrolling the live feeds on YouTube, and they're gonna hear a little truth bomb, and maybe we'll red pill some people, you know. And that's it, because that's the kind of the important stuff, really, for me. That's really what we started. That's what the channel evolved into, and that's what's really important to me is biblical truth. Outside of that, I don't really care. There's enough doomer porn and end of the world and blah, 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 blah. But do they know how to repent? You know what I'm saying? Do they know what the word says according to the word and according to the Father, not according to man? This is like one of the nights that I wish I could smoke a cigar in my room, which I'm not going to do because eventually my wife will come home and I don't want to get stabbed. You know what I'm saying? Taking over as a pastor, huh? That'll be cool. Very interesting. Hopefully you teach them truth bombs. You know what I'm saying? Sober party. What's up, yo? What's up, Vincent? Yeah, I've had a week. So I was supposed to pour concrete this morning. Made a quick video. So what is it? It's red skies at night, a sailor's delight. Red skies in the morning, an ominous warning. Is that what it is? I think that's how it goes. Anyhow, it's an old fishing thing. But red skies this morning, and then I got to work, and it was raining, and it started raining, and we couldn't tell if the weather was going to come or not, or if it was going to come later this evening. And I was like, man, I can't push the concrete load. I either cancel or that's it. And so I had to cancel it. And then, you know, it eventually cleared up, but I was like, well, I wouldn't have been able to pour till like noon, and I wasn't going to babysit it and slide into Shabbat sideways all stressed out. Doesn't sound fun to me. It's on the same mountain as PJ. What? Eric, did you change your name? I feel like you changed your name. Like your handle used to be something else. I'm pretty sure it was something else. But now it's some crazy, some other thing. What's up, Sky or Jennifer? I don't know which one it is. Williams, what's cracking? John, my dude. Sportfish Texoma. Listen, bro. You know, what's it called? Zolatone coating? Is that what it's called? Zyatone? Anyhow, when they sell new boats, it's aluminum. The inside of them usually has like a gray or a tan kind of base coat, and then it's got like this speckly kind of color, like white and black speckles all through the color. I did that to a boat this afternoon because I gave it to my 12-year-old because his birthday's coming up, and I gave him this little old 12-footer I got. But I did that finish on the inside with some other stuff that I found, and it worked super good. I was like, damn, it looks as good as factory. And I wasn't even trying. It came out good. Silver Crane. Bro, Silver Crane, you should have kept it. Yeah. Yeah, Silver Crane was the jam, bro. You can't switch up that late in the game. You've been on that way for years. You got to put it back. Anyhow, so I got just a smidge of my mojo fishing back. So now when we go out, we're just slaying them when we go out. And the kids are like, can we go today? Can we go today? And it's like, I've been out in the heat all day. It's, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, like close to the hottest part of their day. Like, can we go? And I'm like, no, I came in because it's too hot and I've been working all day. What's up, Lan? Jimmy Carr. Let's see. Nice. Cunny Words, what's up, yo? There's somebody else on here. Yeah. All right. Whew. Treehouse update. Bro, it's probably, I think, the last one to build anything on it. Well, here's the thing, is Art built some stuff on it. They did a little work on it. But the kids got a hold of some spray paint, and they were like in, West Sacramento under the bridge. They started tagging it up, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So, yeah, we took a little time. It's too hot. They're not even out there touching stuff. They climb up there, hang out in the tree fort, and turn into beef jerky right now. Yeah, I'm wife's at women's retreat. Yeah, I'm not trying to bother her right now. Everything's pretty good at the home front. Trying and doing, watch the kids for me today. Even though I only had like a half day. And then, let's see, what else? I've been busy, dude. It's taken me forever. So I've got a pretty decent sized patio that I'm doing. It's like a 21 by 19. And then it's got a 34-foot sidewalk on it that's like 6 foot wide. And it doesn't sound like much to build concrete forms for, but like the ground is like moon dust right now, so you can't really like it's like you step on it a couple times and it just goes just turns into dust, and you can't really pack it down. It's really weird product. It's weird dirt. It's like sandy. Anyhow, there's that. And then the fact that it's been 108, which is terrible, by the way, when it's humid. And it's not super humid right now, but it's 108, so it doesn't matter. And what else? Oh, and so all of the patio on the sidewalk that I'm doing was all these huge stones that were like 50 to 80 pounds a piece. And they were not the same thickness. So some were like 6 inches deep, and some were like 3 inches deep. And so I had to pull all that stuff and then get a piece of equipment that could move it and lift the big rocks. Like there were so many logistical things. So it's taken me like a week to get ready for this pour. And I mean, I could have done it quicker if it wasn't so hot and I had to cut the day short just so I didn't die. But it took me a hot minute. Today I had a short day, but I had a bunch of catching up and running around to do. And it was day of prep, so it worked out, especially since the wife's not here. Like the sun's about to be down and the kids are finishing up the last little bit of dishes right now. Animals are all fed, everything's watered. House is relatively clean. Yeah, that's about it. So anyhow, so got all the rocks out, had to like redesign how it was going to go, had to form it up, had to get it below grade, had to get rock multiple times, 2 different loads of rock, get the rock put in, rake it out, put the rock in again, rake it out, get it level, pop string lines, put a valve box in, put a drain in the middle of it because there was a downspout going in the middle of it, and then we had a curb where the sidewalk was, and we didn't want all the groundwater and mud running over the sidewalk, so I had to put an in-ground drain that pushed on to the other side of the sidewalk, all last minute. You know, the sidewalk wasn't even supposed to be in the deal, and then it got added on. So it was just nothing but pivot and pivot and pivot, and then we finally got it. And it was going to pour today. All the stress was going to be done because it is what it is at that point. Got the wire on it. Everything's staked up good. Stakes are cut so we can screed it. Rain day. Oh. So, and I called it, and then it cleared up in the afternoon, which it was a safe call. It's supposed to, I didn't want it, there's no gutters on this house, and I didn't want it dripping off the roof right onto freshly curing concrete, making pits in it. That would have ruined my day. Yeah, so now I've got to juggle it sometime next week in between rain showers. We've got to try to figure out how to get it up there. And I might just go ahead and put gutters up now just because I don't want to have to deal with it later. And it kind of sucks because I don't want to do that right now, but if it saves the day, then that's what we're going to do. And Monday, I think it's raining, so we're definitely outpouring then. Oh, and in the middle of that, I called a concrete company. I'm going to get into some other stuff in a minute, guys. I'm just debriefing on my week. In the middle of that, I had called a concrete company. I was like, hey, I need 8 yards. Can you get me 8 yards of concrete? And they're like, yeah. I said, how much is it delivered? And they're like this. I said, what's the PSI? Is it 35 or 3? They're like 35 standard. I said, cool. Are you guys running a little bit wet because of how hot it is? Yeah, mostly. I said, do you have retarder if I need it? And they said, yeah. And I said, I don't want to put it in there because once that stuff goes off, then that's it. It's hard. So I called them back to get the order set for the morning. And I should have known. I should have known at this point. And they're like, oh, we had to cancel because we can't run any more loads for about a week. And I'm like, really? And so last minute, I found some guys to take it and then had to cancel on them, which I felt terrible about. So hopefully they'll still deliver when I call them. Yeah, so it's just been trudging the road of happy destiny all week, right? Trying and doing. What's up, sis? I was just talking about you watching the kids for me. Yeah, October. I'll see you in October too, bro. I'm gonna be on the mountain playing with you guys for sure. Yeah, in your 20s, right? Yeah, I'm like almost 50, bro. This is killing me. But I anyhow, and then I got home, got some stuff figured out for the home front, painted the inside of the kid's boat, and it looks pretty sick. I ran out of paint, but I got it close enough to where, I mean, they're going to tear it up anyhow. I got a little electric trolling motor to put on there for them and some rod holders just so they can tinker around. You know, I'm going to have them float around in a cove where I can get to them pretty quick. Have them try it out. I might put it on one of these little baby ponds on these properties around me just to have them test it out and see if they like it. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. It's definitely going to be something we play with during Sukkot, though. It's going to be fun. That's right, trying to do it. They do me too, even though they don't be listening half the time. Probably listen to you better than me. Oh, yeah. All right, Sportfix Text. I love you, brother. Hey, call me sometime, man. I got to have you come up here for Shabbat. Probably sooner than later. Let's see. Oh, also, Sportfish Texoma, if you're on here still, fam, call me. I might have some work for you, bro, if you want to come up, work a couple days. Saucing on here? What's up, sis? Yeah, I got to witness to a couple people recently. Are those readers? Oh, snap. Well, I might be jamming these readers here in a minute. I think those are readers. Probably not the right ones, but it's better than nothing. Yeah. What's up, Jesus? So I just was like, what are you into? You know, I asked him, he's like, well, I'm into fishing and I'm into games and movies and Legos. And I'm like, well, this boat's been laying in my yard for, I don't know, like a year. I got it because I just wanted a little trolling motor for something. And it was cheap enough when I got it at the time. I think I got it in a little electric trolling motor for like $100 or something. Anyhow, but it's just been sitting over there, and I figured, you know, it would be a good way to get him into boating and like being independent, kind of bump him up in maturity, giving him a bigger responsibility toy. Because also, you know, it's like get him out of the house, let him play. And then that pushes me to do more stuff with him too. I've been fishing with him a lot more lately, but I can't do it all the time, man. I took him out this last week and we had a blast. We caught a bunch of fish, and then they bring him home and he's got a fish tank in his room and they throw him in there, and you know, if they make it, they make it, and if they don't, they you know, feed him to the cat or something. All right, guys. So I had the honor to witness to people about the walk, about the narrow path. And this guy had studied, and I think he was a pastor, and he's really cool. He's really cool. His name's Scott. He's really cool. And I think he was a pastor, and he taught like Sunday school. He taught like teenage youth minister or something like that. Anyhow, so I got the opportunity to witness to him. And he's been coming really close to understanding what does it mean to honor the Sabbath and keep the commandments and stuff like that. And the thing about it is, he really likes bacon, you know, and I get it. I get it, because that's a hard one, especially when your whole life you've heard, you know, well, it's not what goes into your mouth that defiles you or makes you unclean. Or What about Peter's vision? God told him to eat all those unclean things, right? And so I knew he was eventually gonna say those things. And so what I did was I said, hey, the thing about what not goes into your mouth, that's talking about eating food with unwashed hands, because they ritually wash their hands. And it wasn't about food. It was about germs, basically, and washing your hands. And then I said Peter's vision, he gives the conclusion at the end of it. It's about these Gentiles coming and not food. And so when it got to those things, he was kind of like almost starstruck. But I want to show you guys something really quick. He had a really cool Bible that I hadn't seen before, a different translation. I haven't got an opportunity to check it out and see how cool it is, if it's got some translational errors. But thank you, sister. I love you for that. Miss Penny's a sweetheart. You almost made me cry right now. Gotta stop that. Let me pull it up really quick and I'll show you guys. I don't know if you guys have ever heard the translation, but it's called the Yah Scriptures, Y-A-H Scriptures. Let's see if I can pull a little picture of it up. It's probably backwards, but you guys will get the idea of what it looks like. This is actually the Apocrypha one. Hold on a second. They got one that's not an Apocrypha one. Yeah, just this one right here. This one, yeah. What I thought was cool about it is it used the abbreviation of Yah or Yahweh, which I don't think it's Yahweh, to be honest with you. I think it's Yahuwah. But nevertheless, it did have some really neat stuff in it. It did say it did some Hebrew phonics using English to enunciate Hebrew words like Mitzrayim instead of Egypt. It had cool stuff in it, so it's very similar to the scriptures that we use. It's just a different it's almost like a knockoff of it, really, but different. So just interesting. I might get a copy just to check it out, just because why not? What's up, Kermode Bear? Yeah, it's not the scriptures. It's the Yah Scriptures. So it's not the same thing. So it's not the one that says the scriptures, right? It says Yah Scriptures. It's very similar, but it's not the same translation. It's different. It's got a lot of similarities in it. It's really interesting. I'm gonna have to check it out. I don't know who translated it, or if it's a translation of a translation. I don't know a lot about it. I just thought it was interesting to see a Bible like that wasn't just the scriptures where I have them. And it was definitely not. It wasn't messianic at all. It didn't have like Torah portions in it or anything like that. So I can get a chance to go through it and really look. But what I did see in it seemed interesting. Yeah, beef bacon is banging. We actually tried to get some this week, but we couldn't. It kind of sucked. Catch up with the chat for just a second. Texas T's here. Oh, Texas T is here. What's up, bro? Arkansas living. Well, and so here's the thing about that. with the food stuff. So read Leviticus 11. It shows you what the creator of the heavens and the earth made food, what he made for food for his people. You can eat all kinds of stuff, right? You can. You could, we could go out there and shoot skunks all day and eat them if we wanted to, or possums, or raccoons, or squirrels, whatever. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff out there that you can eat, right? Creepy crawlies, creatures, spiders, all kinds of stuff. You can eat them, but did he make it food for you? No. And most, if not everything, that we're not supposed to eat is because it's actually not really good for you. And I'll give you the example of the food stuff. So just because it's not food doesn't mean it's bad. Like pigs have a purpose, right? Squirrels have a purpose. Coyotes, dogs, they all have a purpose, right? Everything has a purpose. Shrimp, lobster, crab, they all have purpose, right? They're all part of an ecosystem that is designed to work a certain way. And every different animal has a different job in that. And some of those are food for us and some of those are not. And it's because of the way that they're made and their responsibility for the ecosystem that we're not supposed to eat them. So pigs don't sweat, so all the toxins in their body don't filter out like most things. Same with dogs, they don't sweat, right? So if you eat these things, they're not good for you. Also, pork specifically is an abomination to be touched or eaten, right? I mean, that's something they defiled the temple with. So if the temple of the Most High was defiled with something, you would think that people would go, oh yeah, we probably shouldn't eat that, right? But Paul said, but Peter's vision. But he said, what goes into your mouth doesn't defile you. Well, here's the thing. If you look back at the beginning of the fall of man, what was our fall? We ate something we weren't supposed to eat. So I mean, it's kind of it's a simple one when you look at it like that, right? And I think that for me, when I read it specifically, I started with pork. And I didn't know all the things yet, but instantly when I read it, it was like, oh, yeah, that's a thing. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to eat that anymore because it says don't eat that. And my mindset was, well, that was just for a certain group of people or for a specific time frame. That was my mindset. It was like that was back then, and there's all the, you guys can hear all the different justifications. Well, they didn't know how to cook it and people would get sick. It's like, what, the fire wasn't as hot back then? It's like way hotter now. You know what I mean? So that there's a lot of stuff that shakes up when it comes to what we can eat, what we can't eat. But if it was possible to do something that offended the Father when it came to food, wouldn't you just play it safe? Just saying. Islam is not truth. And all prophets are not Muslims. Yeah, that's false prophecy. And how I know that is because I can weigh it out with the scriptures. Your Quran doesn't even make sense without the Bible. The Quran only makes sense if it assumes that you've ridden the Holy Bible. That's it, the one from the Father. Yeah, nobody has the authority to change the rules. Not even Yeshua. He never came back to change the rules. He played by the rules, right? So when Jesus comes, he came to fulfill the law, which means there's no evidence for Islam. Something that came off of Gnostic teachings is what Islam is. Yeah. You'll probably love the Gospel of Thomas if you're into that. Isaiah 53. It's the only fucking. The Quran's trash. Sorry, buddy. Yeah, I'm not sure if you're like from another country or you're from America and somebody told you that, but the Quran solely by itself makes no sense unless you've read the Bible. And I will give you this. If they're Islam, they're very faithful if they're real believers. They pray 3 times a day. There's a lot of stuff that they're diligent about. I do give you that. But you're worshiping a false prophet. Nobody gets into the kingdom of heaven without Messiah, right? But not according to you guys. You don't even know if you're going to heaven. It's like a crapshoot. Maybe you are, maybe you're not, right? Mm-hmm. No, I don't disagree that early church fathers changed text or even removed books out of the canon we have. But if you do your diligence, you can see where the big they didn't want you to know truth. And it's the big they that control the same people that you listen to. Let me give you a for instance. So most Middle Eastern flags have some very similar colors in them, okay? Red, white, black, and green, okay? Now, it just so happens in this book, in this prophecy in the back of this Bible, it specifically talks about these 4 horsemen, right? On the first 4 seals in the book of Revelation. And it just so happens that the colors that they used in that happen to match all those Middle Eastern flags. How about that? Almost like the creator of the heaven and earth was trying to warn us not to be led astray by false prophets. Many will come in my name and lead many astray. Here's the thing. I have studied all kinds of religions, but what you can't change and you can't convince me of, you can't convince me the Quran is real and that your version, you're going to say Allah, right? And I say Yahuwah, right? Because he is the God of Isaac, who? And who? Not Ishmael. Ishmael didn't get the inheritance. Okay? He didn't get the inheritance. And that's what sucks, right? So Israel, and I'm not talking about the nation state, I'm talking about the people group, that's who we are. So Shabbat Shalom. It's funny that this section, let me show you guys really quick. This section right here, that's good enough right there. Yeah, we'll call that close enough. Just this section right here, right? Just this section gives you enough information. It gives you enough information that you can spot a false prophet a mile away. Because in this section of the word, in the Tanakh, you can tell if somebody's a false prophet because if they don't align with what this book has, then they're a false prophet. So you can weigh that out. Yeah, that's your version, unfortunately. That's your version. That's not, Muhammad's a false prophet, and that's who you follow. Yeah, you don't follow Allah, you follow his prophet. That's who you follow. And I don't follow that. Sorry. I follow the Messiah. The chosen one came back to redeem the world. And if I were a Trinitarian, I'd be like, well, Jesus is God. but I don't believe that doctrine fully. And so me and you might relate in that area because you don't think so. You think he's just a prophet, but see, I don't. See, I think he's part of the Most High, his son, actually. And I think that if there was a person on this planet that was capable of doing what he did, it would have probably been generations way before us. But he is the one. He is the one who's prophesied in Isaiah 53. That's how we know he's the dude. There is nothing like that in the Quran that will verify that Yeshua is Mashiach. There's nothing there. There's just nothing there, man. Oh my God. Compare the timelines. Listen, I don't need to. Where's he mentioned in the Torah? Yeah, where's he mentioned in the Torah? Muhammad. Where's it say Muhammad at? Give me the verse. Let's look it up. Chapter and verse. Come on. Don't worry, guys. We believe in the rapture, but only in the chat in this live stream. So just be patient. Also, I've got a great question. I got a great question for anybody who is Islam. I got a great question. So here's the question. According to the Quran, what is the Quran's definition of sin? That Striker. Wait, bro, that was a compliment, wasn't it? Striker got jealous. There's no chapter and verse, so okay. So there's no definition of sin in the Quran. Nice. Okay. And you don't have chapter and verse where it mentions Muhammad. Nope. Some made up doctrinal stuff. No chapter and verse. Again, you have nothing for me, boss. Nothing for me. Yeah. You can try really hard, but welcome to the channel. This is Buckets of Bibles, homie. We already dissect all the false doctrine out there in the world. I'm not a modern day Christian, so you're not going to catch me off guard. I'm Israel, period. And all the people that are on this channel know too. Yeah. So you're making up and filling in the blanks. Nice. Nice. Filling in the blanks. There's no proof. He's not mentioned. If you got to twist a word or a definition by whatever culture you're from, it's not a thing. Yeah, and also you can't give me a definition of sin. Yeah, the Quran wouldn't exist without the Torah. 100% right. Let me go in here and I'll look really quick. 5 something. It's probably not in my translation. It might be in a really bad English translation, but not mine. So if you understand translation, right? So we know that the original Bible was written in Hebrew and it was written in Greek. That's what we have the translation from. Not Aramaic. There may have been some text that were translated over to Aramaic for those people, period, but that's not what it was written in. So when you look up by definition, you'll find that most, if not all, English translations are terrible. They're not great. On their hearts, huh? Well, see, the thing is that Yahuwah's seal, he's going to come back and seal his people, the 12 tribes of Israel. That's who he's going to seal. There's 144,000. There's 12,000 from each tribe, except for the tribe of Dan, because they kind of get replaced. Tribe of Dan doesn't make it. So it's funny that you say sealed in your heart, because it doesn't say that in my Bible at all. And it sounds pretty contradictory that you're saying it's the same God, but he says something different here. So it ain't the same God. I'm telling you right now, your Allah is not Yahuwah. It's not my Elohim. Yeah, he is not the creator of the heavens and earth. That's a false deity. Yeah, it's a made-up thing. And that spirit that your prophet was talking to was not a spirit from the Most High. Yeah. Also, didn't Muhammad have sex with 9-year-olds or something like that? I'm sure it's probably fine in wherever you're from, but that's not how we get down over here. Also, I think Muhammad was always trying to kill himself. Struggled with homosexuality. It's diddling little boys and stuff like that. You guys into that? That's why you follow the Quran, because you can get away with that kind of stuff? I'm sure it is. Hey, I'm just being honest with you, man. There's a lot of stuff out there. If you look into it, you're not going to like who your prophet is. Unless you're into that. You'll make me run. Highly doubt it. Because I know where I'm going when I die. I'm going to take a dirt nap until I get caught up. And I'm not afraid of people, homie. You know who I'm afraid of? The one who can cure not just my flesh, but also my spirit, my soul. And that's only one. I'm close to it. I'm close to it. Oh, you know what? I think it's right here. Yeah, I think that's it. Don't add to or take away. Proverbs. Let's go to it. There it is. Proverbs 4:2. For I gave you good instruction. Forsake not my Torah. I love that. The biblical definition of sin is 1 John 3:4. Lawlessness, right? What law? What law are they talking about? Let's read some Matthew 24 really quick. Because my Messiah, Yeshua Mashiach, he's the one who warns me about many people will come in my name. Yeah, let's do it, guys. Let's do it. Almost there. I got so many highlighted spots. Naturally go into it. Let's do it first, guys. Let's go here. Let's do this first. go to Matthew chapter 5, and let's talk about this specific little spot. Chapter 5, verse 17, there it is. So Yeshua says, "Do not think that I came to destroy the Torah or the prophets. I did not come to destroy, but to complete," or in some translations it will say fulfill. "For truly I say to you, until heaven and earth passes away." Well, that ain't happened yet. "Not one yod, not one tittle, by no means shall pass from the Torah until all be done. Whoever then breaks one of the least of these commands and teaches men so shall be called least in the reigns of the heavens. But whoever does them and teaches them shall be called great in the reigns of the heavens." I mean, heaven and earth ain't passed away, so the Torah is still in play. So if you don't keep Torah, it's pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. And it says something about, unless your righteousness exceeds those of the Sadducees and the Pharisees, you'll not enter into the kingdom of heaven, right? And so what was wrong with the Sadducees or the Pharisees? Heart condition, right? Because they were into Judaism, which was the extra biblical rabbi teachings of how to keep the commands that were traditional and not the Torah. The rabbinical teachings is Judaism, so we don't do that here either, right? And also, none of this keeping the Torah gets you into heaven, right? How do we get into heaven, guys? By faith and grace alone. That's it. In what? In Yeshua's finished work on the stake. What he did. So you guys can rapture him if you want now. Truth bomb away. See ya. No raptures. We could rapture. Let's see. Oh yeah, we got into it tonight, fellers. There's another one in there too. Go ahead and grab them too. Raptured out of the chat. Yeah, we do that. Yeah. So that's how you do it, guys. I didn't let them get me riled up too much. Just enough. Just enough. Okay? But we can just do a quick internet search. And we'll do it live. Let's just see what it says. Actually, one of my favorite, you nerds out there are faster than me on the keyboard. Let's do this. Oh, this guy too. Boop. You're going to go into timeout for 24 hours, buddy, at least. Maybe forever. Oh, raptured. Sorry, buddy. So here's the deal. What I think you should do is I think whoever can do it the fastest and hit it in the chat, because it's going to take me forever or I'm going to use the microphone and look like a retard, which doesn't bother me. I'll do it, but I think it's more efficient if somebody just Googles the earliest copies of the Quran. Or when did Muhammad live? Yeah, what years was he around? Because I'm pretty sure it's not before Messiah, right? Yeah. So trying to bring something new in. So the Quran, to me, guys, the Quran is just like Joseph Smith. It's not real. It's like some made up stuff. The Good Idea Fairies. It's where you mixed Gnostic teachings. And if you guys have ever read, like, the Gospels, and then they have these other Gospels, like the Gospel of Thomas. Dude, if you just look up the last two verses of it, I think it's the last verse. It's absolutely Gnostic teaching. And it really kind of goes into the Islamic belief system. It meshes right into that because they can't respect women. Like they won't look at women, they won't shake their hand. Like all these things are crazy. And I think that you get a little bit of that culture mixed in the Gnostic Gospels, and it's ugh. Okay, so 700 years after Messiah. What? Are you kidding me? This one says Muhammad was born in 70 AD. So the Quran didn't come in for 700 years after Messiah, right? But check this out. Guess what else came around the same time period as when he was born? And this was written. Guess what happened? That's the early church father times when there was this huge twist and religious explosion on the planet. That's when Catholicism went bonkers. And if you look up early church fathers, and that's when they started like changing the Sabbath and taking out all these different things, right? That's like in the same kind of time frame within like 100 or 2 years of that. There was a lot of a lot of shenanigans going on. So you keep saying God exists, he saved you. Like, brother, we're all faithful on this channel. We know about Jesus, we know about God and the Holy Spirit in the Bible, we read it. So repent, because the kingdom of heaven is at hand, and that is part of the gospel. It's the good news that there's salvation for those who believe and walk according to their belief and follow the narrow path. Yeah, I've had that issue with Mormons too. I actually, I was witnessing to a couple of Mormons with my wife's cousin, and it was excellent because they didn't have any answers. Like we would hit them with stuff, and they're like, "Well, what about this?" And you're like, "Well, it's cool that you're deflecting and now going to a different topic, but that still doesn't answer." What does it say in Matthew 24? It says that many false prophets will arise and say that I am the Messiah, right? They're not claiming to be Jesus. They're pointing and going, yeah, he's the Messiah. Follow after what I'm saying you. They're claiming him, but not following his teachings. And we have that today. We have that today in a lot of modern day Christianity because it's a false religion. It's not biblical. And unfortunately, that's the dividing line for me, because why I don't mesh well with modern day Christians is because things that are sin for me, that the scripture clearly says sin, that I don't call it sin. The Bible calls it sin. To them, it may not be sin. Well, that was back then, or that's for, the Jews or all these other things. And so I don't mesh well with them. And so if there's people who understand my faith even a little bit, they're a little bit curious, they'll hang around, right? They'll hang around, and eventually they'll start getting convicted to do stuff, and they'll start asking their people or their pastor questions, and they'll be like, don't go around those guys. Don't go around those guys. That's the doctrine of devils. They'll say all the things, right, to get them to not do the thing. And I'll be honest with you, what's up, Richard Barber? I really love the fact that we have the instructions to live by, and that none of us are going to have those dialed in perfectly ever. And that me and you guys, we got the same set of rules, unless you're a chick. Obviously, all us dudes got the same set of rules, right? Unless you're like not a dad, or you are a dad, or if you're a farmer, right? But generally, we all have the same set of rules. And the cool thing about all of that is that it's just and there's equal weights and measures. It's fair. We all have the same stuff. Hold on, Tristan. What are you saying? Oh, yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Exactly. You got timed out, bro? I mean, you're talking, so I don't think you're still timed out. Maybe it was an accident. What's up, Desert Jack? But the rise of Islam in America and all over the world. Look at Europe. Look what's happened in Europe, dude. If you guys watch S2 Underground, there was rape gangs, Islamic rape gangs that were raping people for years and paying off the cops and government officials. And all of it just blew up. And I'm surprised it's not on the news more. And why do you think it's not? Because the big day let stuff like that happen. Yeah, I can't get down with all that, all the religion nonsense. Yeah, it fell long ago, but like this is like proof in the pudding, right? This is the fruit of what happened. This is the fruit of how far things have fallen. And the funny thing is that we're partnering up with Europe. We're like we're like besties. You know what I mean? Probably more like this, but we're not going to get into all that. Yeah, Shabbat Shalom, by the way, guys. This is the stuff that we like to do on the channel. Is every doctrine that comes up that does not align with the scriptures, we're going to shoot it down with scripture. Yeah, exactly, Jimmy Carr. Exactly. And so like, and then you look what's happening in North Africa. Where is it, in Nigeria? Or Lagos? I think it's Nigeria. Yeah, it's up northern. And they had all the Islamic people that were just massacring all the Christians over there. And I know what that's like over there. I know how they get down. I had a friend that lives over there. He's a pastor. He preached to the people out there, and yeah, do his thing and lift people up, pray for people. And Thomas, old Thomas, man, wonder how that dude's doing. But yeah, it's the thing is, man, it's like every time we see now my eyebrows, right? So now I'm gonna do the sniff test, right? I'm gonna do the sniff test, and that's got to line up with the scriptures. If it doesn't line up, I don't know, Eric. Yeah, I don't know about all that right now. Saucing, man. I had a week too. You missed all the little rant that I started off with. Yeah, I can't get down with any of it. It's the same reason that I don't really like modern day Christians. It's like if it's not sin to you and it's sin to me, we're probably not gonna mesh the best. I'll be honest with you. We're just not gonna, right? Like if I got a brother who's keeping the faith And he's like, "Hey, Jode, why are you doing that?" And I'll be like, "Oh, I don't know. I'm just doing this thing." And they go, "But did you know that the scripture said this?" Right? And first, I'm gonna consider reading it so that I can make sure that I didn't misread something and misinterpret it, right? And then I'm gonna ask him, if it's not super direct, specific to what I'm doing, how does he come to the conclusion that I'm breaking a command, right? Because I want to know. And sometimes there's other things that give a conclusion. There's more that stack in there, right? But most of the time, it's pretty basic. It's pretty easy to see. You don't have to read between the lines. It's just like you do this and you don't do this, right? And I can misinterpret what somebody's doing or their intent behind it, right? And intent doesn't always matter, um, because if it's sin, it's sin. It doesn't matter what your intent is, right? It just doesn't matter. Well, in belief, true faith is going to be extreme. So we're considered religious extremists in the faith that we have, right? Because it's so far out of the norm for most stuff today that there's not a lot of people who do what we do. There's just not. There's a remnant. There's only a remnant. If you looked at how many people keep Torah and believe in Messiah, um, how many do you think are on the planet out of 8 billion plus people, right? You think it's 1% or 5%? What's 5% of that? What's 5% of 8 billion? Somebody do the math really quick. I know you're good at it. Come on, nerds. Yeah, exactly, Richard. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's all it takes, really. So 400 million. That's 5%, Striker? 5%. Kind of a trip because I think it's probably closer to 0.5%. Let's look. Well, and maybe we'll give the 400 million, right? We'll give it 400 million. It might even be maybe even a billion, right? Maybe a billion people who truly believe. And I'm not saying if you don't keep Torah that you're not going to heaven. That's not what I'm saying, because there's plenty of people who truly believe in Messiah and believe in the Father and the Spirit and love him the best of their ability. They just don't know any different, right? And what does it say? As it says in Matthew, it didn't say that you'll be called least in the kingdom, not that you're not going. Because there's a level of faith there, right? And we're not held to a standard we don't know. So like the whole purpose of what I do is I'm trying to get people to the other side. Now if I do a good job, that's if I do a good job, I keep my flesh out of it and I try to, in love, as humble as I possibly can. Obviously, we're not all good at that stuff, right? As humbly as I possibly can. Try to present a case of the scriptures in context to somebody who doesn't know. Yeah, observing Torah, but they don't know Messiah, and we know that Torah doesn't get you into heaven. This is my point. If there's only a remnant, right? If there's only a remnant, there's a small amount of people, and the people who are sealed that are from the 12 tribes are 144,000. There is another group of people who are not from the tribes. Maybe they're the grafted in, maybe that's us, right? That are wearing the white robes, and they're a multitude that can't be counted, right? That were slaved for their faith and for all these things. They're told to rest a little while longer, right? That's in the book of Revelation. So it's very interesting how we can get to these bigger numbers. And there's mysteries that we are not going to know. You guys recall in the book of Revelations that this angel had this, that sealed up this prophecy, and it was this little tiny book, and it was given to John. And John said that he has to eat it, right? So, and when he eats it, it's going to be sweet in his mouth, but when it gets to his belly, it's going to be bitter. This is a sealed up prophecy until the end. So I'm curious if that is some information that we're going to get about stuff. I'm very, very curious. So if you guys are keeping the Sabbath and you do that, Shabbat Shalom, love you guys. If not, that's okay too. Just remember, if we look at just the 10 Commandments alone, it's a good starting place. But the fourth commandment, it says, remember the Sabbath and to keep it holy. And what does it mean in Hebrew to keep it holy? It means to keep it set apart, special, right? Not just like any other day. Oh, I'm on my last sip of coffee. I hope it's enough. I got water. I got a little tiny bit of some soda. Might get into it. Oh, like, should I drink it? Should I save it? I'm gonna save it. Let me get some water. Stand by. Oh, there it is. Got it. Whooby's on here. What's up, Whoop? More coffee indicated. Word. You guys, ever try to peer pressure a bear? It's not very easy. They don't really move that easy. So I text T the other day. I was like, hey brother, you know, come hang out since the chicks are out of town, bring the littles, whatever. I tried to peer pressure him. I could tell he wanted to like just tell me no, but he like loves me, so he was really kind and patient. He's all noted. Yeah, I have the coffee right now because if I don't, I'm going to fall off really quick. And I want to stay on. Let's say we've been on over an hour and I've been yapping the whole time, which has been dope. I want to stay on a little bit later and try to get my views up a little bit higher on the live streams. The reason is because at a minimum, if we can drop some scriptural truth bombs and plant some seeds, that's okay with me. And I'm totally comfortable with that. What's up out there? I don't know what you're talking about, but it sounds like you're arguing with somebody in the chat. Now, I don't want to see it, bro. I'll be honest with you, Striker. I am not a fan of AI stuff, bro, at all. Yeah, I'm just not. I don't mess with it. I don't watch, like, the little AI stuff that pops on is getting so good that you can almost not tell the difference. And I hear people in the grocery stores listening to AI cooking stuff. I hear people listening to AI videos that's telling stories. And it's like, I don't want to be that familiar with it. I want to, when I hear it, I don't want it to be so nonchalant. When I hear it, I go, oh, nope, that's not people. That's a computer. That's a thing. That's not real. And the reason that I have that conviction is because I do not want to be led astray. And the beast system and the image of the beast is probably AI. So I don't mess with none of it. I don't dabble in that world. It's not interested in me. I don't use AI apps. I don't use none of that stuff. The AI Google stuff that's on my phone, I don't use it. I turn it off. I don't mess with it at all. And when it gives me that definite, I look for the information. So I use the internet and Google like I used to use a dictionary, right? Or an encyclopedia. You guys ever heard of those? Those are crazy, right? What's that? Right? So like all this information is out there. So all I use Google for is the address to get me there. And then I see if it's see what this person who wrote up this article or study or what it is, like where's their background out, are they verifiable? There's a lot of different stuff in it. Is it bullshit? Is it actually historical stuff, or is it just some guy's 2 cents on it? So I try to really, really look and see. And I just, yeah, like I said, I use the internet how I used to use like a dictionary. I like type in the address to this www dot whatever it is, and then I go look at the where I'm looking for the information. That's it. Yeah. By definition, if I could ask right now, and it's changed. I've listened to it over the years. If I Google what the biblical definition of sin is, it might give me, it will probably give me two definitions. It'll give me a general Christian one, and then it'll give me a specific scriptural one. And so it's left into like, if you don't know, you don't know, right? So you can't just trust what it gives you. Let's do it really quick. What is the biblical definition of sin?
In the Bible, sin is any thought, word, or action that goes against God's law. It's described as missing the mark or rebelling. It includes both doing wrong and failing to do good. Sin originated with Adam and Eve and creates a barrier between humanity and God, leading to separation. However, forgiveness is available through faith in Jesus Christ.
Okay, so now, wait. See what it told me? It told me something. Now, a lot of people will stop right there. But let's look. Because the first biblical reference it gives you is truth. 1 John 3:4. Right there. It gives it to you. Right there. Okay? So you can't just take whatever Google says. Wikipedia, none of that stuff, right? You got to know how. What's up, OP Storm Chaser? Love you, bro. You can't just take whatever the internet says. You actually have to dig, right? And so when I dig, if I went back to that, right? If I went back to that and I scrolled down, I'd start getting into all these different churches or study groups or websites that try to teach on a little bit of discipleship. There might be some extreme, like messianic style ones. There may be some regular, just, hey, listen, it's breaking the 10 Commandments. It might be all kinds of stuff. But you're not going to get a straight answer because there's too much religion out there. Definitely not asking AI that. Pledge allegiance to. That's not. I'm not doing that. Yeah, well, I homeschool my kids because I don't believe in any of the American system anymore. It died probably 50 years ago, and it has been corrupted more and more and more and more and more ever since. To the point now where our government has got us in so much debt that we'll never pay it off. It's got us in so many unrighteous wars over BS. The CIA, what do they even do? You know what I mean? They're not allowed to work on American soil, but they work on American soil. They're not supposed to operate here, but they operate here, right? They're intelligence, dude. We have military intelligence. We have all this other, we don't need that. You know what I mean? Like, who brings all the drugs over the border? Who pays all the cartels? CIA, right? So like we have all this stuff that we've known forever, but we can't prove it. There's nothing we can do. Our hands are tied behind our backs. And we also know that most everybody in the government are puppets. Everybody. Presidents, every president that's been on, puppet, right? Congress, puppet. State representative, puppet. It's just it's a joke, it's a money game, right? And if you took the money out of it, maybe we would have some honesty. Maybe. If you took the money and the power out of it. Would we have some honesty? Maybe, but then nobody would do it, right? So my understanding is America's probably gonna fall pretty hard. And when it does, nobody's coming to help us. We don't have any allies. We burnt all our bridges. We bullied too many kids on the playground. We don't have the respect. And what we had was fear. We had respect at one point, but now we don't have respect, and we definitely don't have fear because look at the mess that's going on in the Middle East right now. Iran's just been holding the middle finger up to us, like, come get some. We're not moving, right? And you know what happens? Nothing. Nothing good's going to happen from it. But that's my 2 cents, man. So, like, prophecy, like, what's Mystery Babylon? Is it America? Maybe. Maybe. Maybe it's the Vatican City. I don't know. But what I do know is that there is very little in our government, which now represents the people, that is righteous anywhere or respected anywhere. Very little. The pipe dream of what we were, and the pipe dream that they've sold our soldiers who have fought bravely for our country was a fucking lie. Excuse my language. It was a lie. And they're out there, sending our dudes and our women to war to die for political gain, for money, for some battles that are not, and they'll wrap it in righteous stuff, right? And so I'm not saying they didn't do any good works, because they did. There's plenty of guys out there that are in the service, prior service, that served, that took out a lot of really bad people that needed to do stuff. 100%. 100%. And I don't knock any of that. Tremendous amount of respect. Wish I could have went. Tried. They didn't let me in. But behind it, who's running it? Like, do you trust that they're making good, honest decisions when you look at how upfront and who cares and propaganda that they have today? No, not really. Yeah. And so I don't trust mankind. And I don't trust governments in it. And it's all part of the same system at this point, right? So the elites of the world run all the countries. They run all the big banks of the world, world banks, right? And they lend to governments and they make money. So if you look at how they look at us, we are just the worker bees. We're expendable. We're just the little bees in the hive. And, you could wipe out half the hive or the whole hive. They don't really care because there's other hives. But as long as they're still getting the honey, they don't really care, right? And all you're going to do is work your whole life and never own what you own, right? What's the Great Reset? It says you're going to own nothing and be happy. We already own nothing. Like, you never own your land here. It's a pipe dream, and this is just my 2 cents. And I'm not doom and gloom. I've just accepted the fact that I'm stuck in a system that there's absolutely no way that I can defeat. But my responsibility has nothing to do with any of that. My responsibility solely is to do what I'm commanded to do according to the scriptures, which is love people and love him. Raise my kids up in the way so when they're old, they don't depart from it, right? Treat people as I want to be treated. Speak truth, right? What is truth? Well, his word is truth. That's what we're supposed to be sanctified in. The salvation that we get is not going to be in a country, in a government, in mankind. It's 100% based on prophecies that come from the Father that have been fulfilled and are going to be fulfilled by our Messiah, by the Father, by the Creator of the heaven and earth. And so repent, because the kingdom of heaven is at hand, right? So what's the great deception? If nobody knows what sin is, how can they repent? That's part of it for sure. You know, that's part of it for sure. I think World War III is going to pop off, and then right after the dust just starts to settle, and all these countries and the money, everything's falling, some kind of something savior is going to pop on the scene. We're calling the Antichrist. Is it going to be an alien? It's probably a demon or a demigod or something weird, right? There's just some weird stuff out there that I'm not 100% what it's going to look like. I just know that it's not going to be fun, that the tribulation is 100% designed for us to repent. For people who need to repent, that haven't repented, that will not fall on their face and call on the name of the Father, call on the name of the Son. Right? That's it. So if you truly believe that Jesus is the Christ, Yeshua is Mashiach, right? If you truly believe that he died on a stake for your sins and that he is our Redeemer, right? He's our Passover lamb. He's the first fruits of the resurrection. If you truly believe these things, believe what he teaches us. What does he teach us? He teaches that the law and the prophets are not done away with until heaven and earth pass away, and that ain't happened yet. And he teaches us that if you break one of the least of the laws, right, one of the least of the commands in the laws or the prophets, you break one of the least of those, and you teach others the same thing, that you're called least in the kingdom of heaven. Now, see, I'm not saying this. What I'm doing is I'm quoting out of Matthew chapter 5. And most people don't, right? What is the biblical definition of sin? This blows people's minds when they hear it. It's transgression of God's laws. Jesus didn't come to change the rules, right? Fulfilling the law is, I'm going to give you the simplest explanation. If I'm going to drive my car from here to my job site, and I jump in my truck, I put my seatbelt on, I pull out, fire out, use my turn signals, I obey the speed limit, I stop at every stop sign, I turn signals, all the things, right? I stop at the stoplights, right? I use my blinker when I merge, I slow down, I get over when there's a car on the shoulder, all the things that you're supposed to do. And I get to my job site. I have fulfilled the law. Did I change the law? Is now that I fulfilled it, did the law go away? No. And see, we have one creator who gave a set of rules for everybody. And they can be summed up under the two great commands. Love the Father with everything you got. Heart, mind, body, soul, everything, right? And love your neighbor like you love yourself, okay? But they are not the only commands. They're just the great. And the whole thing kind of goes for those, right? Because the two great commands, shadow of the 10 commands. The first 4, how you love and honor the Father. The last 6, how you love and honor your neighbor and yourself. But the weeds on how to walk all the 10 commandments out, they're in the first 5 books of the Bible. That's how you know, well, when I have when I'm a farmer, do I glean the edges, do I leave the edges of my fields for the sojourner, for the poor people, right? What does it look like to take care of widows and orphans? Am I commanded to do that? 100%, right? There's a lot of really, really important information, instructions that in Christianity today that we miss out because they do not teach the heart condition of keeping God's law. His law, according to, where is it? One of you guys know where it's at. I think it's in Psalms, and it says that the law is a lamp to my feet, right? And a light to my path. One of you guys know that one. Put it in the chat for me. It's like really, it's mind-blowing how far Christianity has drifted from what the whole word says, right? because a lot of Christianity divides the old stuff, old God, not the same. Now we got new God, nice, everything's nice. It's just not it, right? The standard of sin, the standard of how to love people, has to come out of the Word. If we are defining ourselves in our societal norms, what good is, we're losing. You know, missing the mark, it's a cliche thing, it's a general term. There's specific instructions if you're a believer. Specific instructions, right? Just like there's no Gentiles in the new covenant. That's just not what the Bible says. But people are taught that. Well, I'm a Gentile believer. I mean, not really. That's not what the book says. It says if you believe in Messiah, you're not a stranger to the citizenship of Israel. What do you mean? Well, I'm not talking about the nation state. I'm talking about the people group. Right? That's what it is. Yeah, you got it, Commode. That's it. Good enough. That'll work. I think that it's really important that if we're going to share the gospel, we share the whole gospel, right? Like, repent. When I baptize people, you know what I tell them? I tell them, leave that old man in the water. And when you come up, it's 100% your responsibility to search out and to walk out what the Bible defines as sin. It's your responsibility. If you're dedicating your life to Messiah, you're saying, I'm giving it up for you. I'm going to follow after you. I'm going to be a disciple. Now it's your responsibility to study that word or to be around people who will help teach you and help you discern what that thing says so that you're not walking in sin according to the scriptures, not according to man. That's it, right? The biblical definition of love is not the same. Like the Father, the way he wants to be worshiped and loved, bro, it's not how we think. It's not the way that we do it. We got it wrong. Humanity has it wrong. The standard has to come from the scripture. That's it. It has to come from the scripture, dude. If we're depending on our own understanding, we're missing it. What's it say? Lean not on your own understanding, but every what? There's no possible way that any of us on our own understanding can walk out righteousness. The word is spiritually discerned, which means that if you're not trying to search for truth by the power of the Spirit, right? Because that's how we're sanctified. The word says, sanctify them in truth. Your word is truth, right? If we're not using the word to define the word, if we're not using just what we have right there to give us the guardrails, right? The left and right limits of where, if we're his people, this is where we got to operate in. This is the standard. We don't get to pick the standard. We don't get to pick what sin is. That's not how it works. If you're picking what sin is, you're playing God. That's it. You don't get to pick what sin is. It's not just some bad feeling you have inside. You're limiting on what it is then. Sin can be, you can get convicted of stuff, but it's your responsibility to study and to hang around brothers and sisters who truly look and study the word and try to walk out what it says to their best of their ability. And the biggest thing in that statement is, are you actually studying what the word defines sin? Because sin is defined in the New Testament two different ways. One, lawlessness, transgression of God's laws. Which ones? All of them. If you're breaking them, that's sin. And then we add on top of that the spiritual aspect, right? Which the Holy Spirit comes to convict us of sin, right? So if we're doing something that is not according to his will in our own personal walk, and he convicts us like, okay, Jode, you're not going to fish on the Sabbath anymore. Word. All right, I'm not going to fish on the Sabbath anymore. Now, if I make you do that, I'm starting my own religion. But if I respond to that conviction, because I know he's like, don't do that, right? That's my personal walk. I don't have to make anybody else do that, right? As long as it's not contradiction with the scripture says, we're good, right? Reading the scriptures and using English translations is very difficult to get the deep, deep meanings of what the word says. So if you're really into studying the word and you've got like a Strong's concordance or whatever, right? Or you think King James is the way, I promise you, the deeper you look into the Hebrew words, right? Or the Greek words, by its definition, by Hebrew definition and by Greek definition, you will understand that English is a terrible translation. And you will get such a deeper meaning. Even just this little tool that I'm going to show you right now, this is a basic one. But just studying your word, right? So I got the YouVersion Bible app. Just this right here just says Holy Bible, right? So when it pops up, it's gonna say YouVersion. Let's see. There it is, right? So I'm gonna show you really quick. You're gonna love this. So I go down here and it says Bible. Boop. Tap on the Bible. So whatever. We got that one. I'm gonna tap it and then it gives it some little underlines. Down here, you can scroll over to compare. Boom. Now look, you've got all these different translations. All these different translations that you can compare it to, and you can add more. Right there, it says add. You can add more. Check this out. Click on it. Now you can go through all these different scripture, all these different translations of the Bible. And what's crazy is when you start to just look a little bit deeper than the translation that you're comfortable with, and you see 3 or 4 different translations, what you're going to learn is the verbiage changes slightly, and you're going to get a more well-rounded, better understanding of what the verse means that you're looking into, or the verse is. Because what it does is it helps you. It helps you understand that translation from one language to another loses word value massively. We all know that, right? If I tried to say something in Spanish, it's not going to mean the same as it does in English. It's not going to mean the same as what I want it to in Spanish, right? It's like that with every language. Every language you lose value. You're going to get kind of close, but not the deep, deep meaning. And so studying the deep, deep meaning means you look up what was the original language, right? Just like when I talked to you guys about Torah, dude. Torah doesn't mean law. It does, but it's not solely meaning law, right? The beginning of that definition, Torah, starts with instructions. Now, if they translated the word instructions instead of law, imagine the context change that we would have while reading the scriptures. Don't think that I came to do away with the instructions or the prophets. I did not come to do away with the instructions, but to fulfill them. Whoa, the dynamics totally change, right? But it is loving instructions, but it is firm like a law. It's not one or the other. So it's just way deeper. The name of that app is YouVersion Bible app. It does have the scriptures in it. It doesn't have the scriptures in audio, but it does have it in like King James, ESV, New American Standard, and a few other ones. I use ESV or New American Standard to listen to it audibly when I'm studying and stuff like that, or I'm on a long drive, just so I can get it. And most of the time, if you're familiar with it, you can catch the translations, right? If something stands out, you're like, that doesn't sound like what I normally read or what I've heard there. Just pause it, underline it, compare it, look through it. You're like, okay, got it, because I've read these other translations and it sounded a little bit different than what I heard in this one. You'll catch it every time. The more you do it, the more you'll realize, okay, got it. And it helps you get back in there, because it may have sounded the time you were listening to it a different way. And then when you look a little deeper and pause and take a second to like, did I hear that right? Was that what? is that the right intent? Is that right? And then you're like, oh, okay, got it. Yeah, because it sounded way different. Now I got it. Yeah, and I get that digital concerning. I do get that. What I had about maybe 5, 6 years ago, I had this. I think it was either a King James or a New King James, and it was a MP3 player, and it was an MP3 player. It was just an audio file, and it had the whole Bible on this little MP3, and you could pick chapters, books and chapters. I don't think you could pick verses, but you could pick books and chapters, and it was really cool. And you could plug into the headphone jack, throw your headphones in. It didn't have Bluetooth or none of that. And I don't know whatever happened to that, but I was like, man, I need to put like 5 of these in a can, pull the batteries out, and just have them in case I ever need them later on in life. And I never did get it because I don't remember how much they were back then. They're like $30 or something back then. You could probably get them on Amazon cheap. But see, I would have to listen to the whole. I'd have to listen to every bit of the Bible to verify that it hadn't been changed or manipulated, or the verbiage hadn't been switched. And that's just one of those things where you got to know the word good enough where you'll catch it. What's up, Shalom Mountain Spiritual Savage? Lindsay's on here. Promised Land Farms, you're on here? Oh, Shabbat Shalom, brother. Sorry, man, I'm yapping so hard I couldn't even pull back the reins a little bit. What did I do with my water? There it is. Yeah, for you guys who are just jumping on, you missed it because we had two people from Islam that were really trying to convince that the Quran was accurate and Muhammad's the dude and their version of Allah, their version of God is right. And yeah, it was it was fun. I shot them down. They didn't have any biblical definition of sin, not even according to their Quran. It was super vague. It was just like a bunch of nonsense. Yeah, honestly, I missed my rib tonight, but she's at women's retreat, so solo bolo over here. So I don't get quite as much of the word in because it's hard for me, especially when I'm going like this, to slow down, like to slow my brain down enough to like comprehend what's happening in the chat and to be able to like slow down. I thumbed through this thing. I was just thumbing back and forth. I couldn't even get myself to slow down enough to like get to it. And I finally was like, all right, let me get on something like I got memorized and let me read it out loud real quick to the camera because it's still true. So I went to Matthew, since that's like what I could do at the time. But yeah, I mean, that's it, dude. I'm gonna get back into this one really quick. Stand by. Thanks, fam. Appreciate that. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, that's Matthew 24. So, taught ones came to him separately, saying, say to us, when shall it be? When shall this be? And what is the sign of your coming and the end of an age? And Yeshua answered them and said, take heed that no one leads you astray, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am the Messiah, and they shall lead many astray. They're not saying, I'm Yeshua. They're pointing, going, yeah, he's Messiah. Check it out. I'm going to tell you this secret squirrel stuff, Or we've got it figured out over here because we looked inside this magic hat with these rocks, and old Mr. Smith, he's the dude now. No, there's no, Yeah, where's the prophecy about him coming? Right? Well, it's right here. Many shall come in my name and lead many astray. That's the warning. And then you go all the way over to Matthew 24, 25. See, I have forewarned you. Right? He's talking about end times, right? He's talking about it. He's letting these guys know, here's the signs. This is what you're looking for. Here's all the different things that are going to be happening. And I know a lot of people, like, you can look at that stuff in Matthew 24, or even the beginning in the seals. You can see a shadow of that happening today. Like, there's wars, there's rumors of wars, right? There's earthquakes in various places. There's the coming famines, though, bro. Woo, boy. That's not looking good. That is another big indicator, because there's droughts and it's been so bad. And the storms have been so dramatic. Dude, Heath, Tactically Torah, Heath Hayes was just talking about this. So it's like they turned CERN off, and then all of a sudden we got all the natural clouds back, right? But the weather's pissed. I mean, it's upset right now. I had 0% chance of rain. Or maybe it was 1, right? For today. And then it changed overnight to, what was it, like, I think it was like 94, 64%, something ridiculous. Oh, there he is. Iron Wolf. What's up, fam? Shabbat shalom, brother. Yeah, so like Mother Nature, the world, like the weather is pretty upset because it's been manipulated so many different ways, and I just can't, man. Yeah, super crispy. Yeah, super crispy in eastern Oklahoma. I'll be honest with you, we're still like, let's see, I saw the most I've ever seen in Oklahoma with oak trees all the way just dropping their leaves because of how dry and hot it was. This is the worst summer I've seen in the last half a decade or more. It's bad this year. It's really bad because it looks like autumn on 30% of the trees, and a third of the trees were burnt up. Yeah, I'm just saying, just weird. Just saying, guys. Just saying. Yeah, so famine is one of the big indicators, and hyperinflation. I think that those are going to be because if we've got diesel shortage, well, what do farm equipment run on? Well, they run on diesel. Really? Yeah, they do. That's it. They run on diesel. Harvesters, balers, like all the stuff that they run out there, it all runs on diesel, like tractors, all that stuff. So I'd say it's probably 98% diesel on all that stuff. And then think about what moves all the stuff around in most, if not all, of the world. Huge diesel trucks and trains that run on diesel. That's it. So, yeah, diesel prices are a little higher than we want them to, right? By like $1 in some places or $2 in some places. Yeah, sucks, right? But what does that do to the already stressed and inflated economy? You're not just paying higher diesel prices. You're paying higher food prices all the way around. Higher everything prices. But food doubly, because not only does it costs more to run the farm equipment, but it costs more to get it moved to the grocery store. Oh, bless me. Blessed. And it kind of sucks because we're coming off, we're just finishing up Shemitah, and so we didn't have any harvest this year. And when we got the land last year, we didn't really have enough time to really develop anything for a good garden. So nothing really came up on its own. We had very little that we had harvested. We had a couple of blueberries pop up, couple of blackberries that popped up, and then some natural stuff that Jimmy Carr was teaching me about. What's it called? Lamb's quarter? This weed that I kept weed eating in my backyard. Well, evidently, it's like the most delicious thing in my backyard. It's super good. You can make it's like baby spinach. It's awesome. Oh yeah, ships too. Ships run on that too. That's right. It's a good word. Ships run on diesel. Lamb's quarter, lamb's ear. I don't remember what it's called. I think it's called lamb's quarter. Jimmy Carr, what's it called? Still on here, Jimmy? Lamb's quarter. So I was right. Yeah, that's it. That's the good stuff. Oh. Yeah, and it was growing out right outside my back door. And I come out and he's like, "Oh yeah," and he like hands me this little super soft, velvety little leaf, and I was like, "Try it." And he's like munching on one, and I'm all, I kind of looked at him funny, and I was like, "That's pretty good, really. I mean, it's better than eating grass for sure." Yeah, and Julie, we got a bunch of those, all this natural survival stuff and home remedies and all the goodies and homestead books. We got a whole mess of that stuff. So, important thing that I need to figure out how to do this year is I need a storm shelter. And I have to develop the land at the back of my property so that I can move some of, my goodness, bro. My yard looks like it looks like a junkyard, and my wife cannot stand it. It would be nice to have a barn, but I need more acreage for that. I'm pretty full. There's just not enough for what I want to do. I need to be able to have some animals besides dogs and chickens. I'd like to have maybe at some point. Definitely when I get a little longer in the tooth and I slow down and I'm just going to be at home, I'd like to have some sheep. But I'm not quite ready to be married to not going anywhere or doing much. And the thing is I like to travel, so I'm not gonna burn that bridge yet. But yeah, because once you get animals, man, you're married to them unless you got like a Waffles. If you got a Waffles in the mix, that's like your groundskeeper that like keeps up on the garden and all the stuff when you're gone, and he just takes care of everything and you pay him. But I ain't got it like that. I ain't got a full-time ranch hand that lives on property. Although send in your applications, because I'm looking for one. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, you need a place to plop, bro. We might work something out. Where you send the application? Yeah, send it over to bucketsandbibles@icloud.com. Buckets and Bibles, iCloud.com. Talk about it. Yeah, that's the thing. It's kind of a live on property thing, or buy a an acre or two next to me and then come by and do it. That's the thing. It doesn't really work if you don't live here. And there's an extreme amount of vetting that happens. Because I'll be honest with you, I can totally dig a hole, even if it's in rocks. I can dig a hole, no problem. But I don't like digging holes all the time and sticking things in it and then burying it back. It just gets old. So we try not to do that. Dude, this is a good one. We're doing good tonight, guys. We're hanging in there. We're hanging in there. I'm not tired yet. This is great. It's probably because I got to take a slow day today. Oh, kicking the thing off. Yeah, I got to take a little bit of a slow day and hang out with the kids. And that was cool. But it was like wrangling cats, man. I was giving it to them a little bit because they weren't wanting to do the thing. So I was like, listen, you're gonna have to get off that right now and do what I asked you to do 87 times ago. All right, Tristan. Deal. We might be able to do that. But I'll be honest with you. The acreage down here is way more expensive than what you got up there. Because it's a little different. Although, I am super envious of all the oak trees that you got, fam. Because I'm needing firewood. When I went, I brought back basically 3 8-foot oak tree logs and bucked them up in my front yard. Dudley came by and let me borrow a saw because I bought the wrong chain for mine. Anyhow, it took me like 8 seconds with his 362. Right through, I bucked them up. Got the wood splitter out. Jimmy Carr, your thing fired right up, boss. Ran some wood through it, and I split, I don't know, probably a rick of wood. Yeet. I don't know what a rick is, but I probably split a bunch of wood. I got a little bit more to go, but I'm probably going to need like 4 times that much for the fireplace this winter. I really enjoyed it last year, but I was always hustling trying to get wood, and I got some concrete, knotty, giant. I mean, they were probably, I don't know, Jimmy Carr, you were here. We were trying to go through them. They were like 30-ish inch oaks, and they were just so full of knots. Man, you'd put the 25-ton or the 20-ton log splitter on it, and the machine was like, and it's like something's gonna break, and I hope it's not steel. Right? It was bad. So we need more wood. Period. My brother Art, he's got a pretty good sized cedar tree that's been dead. It's seasoned for sure. But I don't know if I can run a whole bunch of cedar. I think it might clog my stuff up, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But nevertheless, I want some of it because it's great for starting fires. Well, the thing about the wood is, I've got a couple scrap piles that been down for a year. All I got to do is go talk to the owners and be like, hey, can I get some of that wood out of there? Because they're just burning it, right? So if I can go get some wood, I still got to cut it, get it bucked up, put it on the splitter, and then get it stacked. The stuff that I'm bucking up right now and cutting and splitting, it's all greenwood, but I got just enough time with as dry and as hot as it is for it to season up before I'll start really needing it this winter. Just barely enough time. If it wasn't dry like it is, it might not, but it's pretty dry right now. So I actually got a bunch of it split. I need to get it stacked. Yeah, I need to get it stacked and covered, kind of covered, right? I need a woodshed. Maybe I'll build a woodshed. Yeah, I gotta move a bunch of stuff. Ugh, gosh. Yeah, I got projects. I gotta fix my little crappy trailer soon too. I gotta put the tire on it. It's got a flat tire. I gotta take the crap that's in it to the dump. I gotta rebuild the sides with some plywood. Maybe I'll get that stuff this next week. Yeah, I gotta get that little trailer working again. And I've just got a little baby welder so I can weld my gates on finally, Jimmy. That's another thing I gotta do is get my gates welded up so I can keep them closed during Sukkot. Yeah, that'll be a thing. But yeah, I really want to get my gates on. I borrowed a little baby welder, but I couldn't. They didn't have the hood. Couldn't find the hood. Maybe it's in my truck or something. I don't know. But I wanna weld those gates on there and then have some gates. That'll be awesome, and maybe slow my stupid dogs from chasing cars and getting run over all the time. But another thing is too is I could probably talk to this bear guy from the internet, and I think he's got like 400 cord of wood over at his house because he runs the wood splitter non-stop. Yeah, I might be able to get some wood from him if I get in a pinch. Yeah, I'd hate to buy it. I'd rather just split it myself. I felt like $1,000,000 after splitting all that firewood, but my chain, dude, I bought the wrong chain. It was too thick. Yeah, it was too thick for the bar on my saw. The chain was too thick to go in it. Bummer. Well, you guys got quiet all of a sudden. Somebody's hitting a wall. Beef making mom. What's up, bro? Love you, Rick. Good to see you on here, fam. Hey, Live in Kadosh, bro. Give me a good heads up before you guys come out here if you want me to look at your stuff. Me and my partner will go out there and take a look at whatever you got, and we'll try to make it happen for you. I know you're planning on moving like mid to late winter. Might be a tough one. Be a beautiful time in the spring, but that just getting set up when it's freezing outside is going to be harsh. It's a different kind of cold down here. Oh, I can have them, huh? Oh, I'd love to have some hickory and some oak, man. That'd be great. Hickory is one of my favorite woods to burn, too. Yeah, and if you ever got like a campfire and you want to cook on a campfire, dude, hickory, it's the bee's knees. Good smell, good flavor. Yeah, that sticky cold. It's like bone chilling. It like cuts right through you. It's not a dry cold where it takes a while to catch up. It's like instantaneously you're like, ooh, damn, I should have put thermals on today. That's not good. Mama's doing okay. She's fighting through it. I think, like her thing is she has like these really good ups where she's doing better and better and better, and then she just starts declining, and then they go really, really, and then all of a sudden she just like bottoms out, and it takes her a long time to like get much off the bottom. It's like she's this huge, massive jet, and she's got all the speed in the world, but she's so weighted down with all this extra BS that she can barely get any lift, right? And so she's just like off the ground all the time, and then she has some days where she gets off the ground and she's cruising, she gets up to high altitude, and that's all she's got, runs out of fuel, and then she crashes for a couple days, stays on the runway. But she's doing good. She's not the important part with any of that is that she, in her spirit, she's okay, right? Like she's got shalom. It was rough there for a little bit. Hey, you gotta let me know, not in the chat, fam, because I will not remember this. I won't remember the chat 5 minutes after I get off here. Text me, don't email me. And text me a lot or call me. Something, remind me, because I'll forget. Even a text I'll forget, man. I just don't. You know how many, like if I don't check my phone all day, like let me just look really quick. I'm going to tell you right now, just since I got on the live stream. Let's see. I'm just going to tell you really quick. Let's see, that's 29, 39, 49, 50, 50 there. Okay, so there's 50 there. $52 messages just since I've been on the live stream. And a lot of those are Shabbat Shalom, so it's not always like that. But there's days where at the end of the day, there's 94 messages in my phone from all these different chats, text, Signal, Messenger, and that's not including any of the emails that I have to go through daily, right? I don't have bandwidth for none of it anymore, man. Got it. Yeah, that's how you do it. Or just call me like every other day and be like, hey, don't forget. Don't be gay. Come out and help me. I'm coming on this day. Oh, man. I found this on Steph's desk. And it's like a brand new tip. It's like the letters are still on it, bro. And it's nothing. I mean, I could sharpen that into a shank. It's so hard. Yeah. Run my business from a flip phone. I would. I'm thinking about it because I'll be honest with you. This boo-boo phone, it's so bad. It's so bad. Dude, if I click on an app, it takes so long for it to open up. Like I click on anything. And if I do it on this iPhone that I'm using here, it's like boop, pops up. It's like right now, right? This thing, super trash. Grateful to have it, but man, it's a headache to use. You want to be saved. Okay. Well, do you know what that looks like? You want to be born. Yeah, you sound kind of like a bot, buddy. Okay. What year were you born? Just asking a question. '93. All right, youngster. Nice. All right. So you're like 32-ish. Great. So, have you read the Bible about salvation? Because we can go through it really quick, but this is like I'm only talking to some text on the page. Yeah, I got the 90. Yeah, I got the 93. Got you. You're 30 something. Got it. Young 30 something maybe. Yeah, 33. All right. So you have to believe that in your English translated Bible, this guy Jesus, right? This guy Jesus, is he the real Son of God? Is he the Messiah? Is he the guy that the Old Testament, that was prophesied about in the Old Testament? Is that the guy? Is that the guy? Because you need to know. Because I'm not talking about religion and some stuff you heard in church. I'm talking about what the word says. In context, which that's a big key thing. Because if you believe that you need salvation, you need forgiveness for your sins, let's first go over what sin is, right? According to the Bible, not according to somebody's religion or doctrine or what your pastor says. Put it in the chat. What is sin, guys? Because these guys already know. 1 John, not the Gospel of John, 1 John chapter 3, verse 4. Everybody doing sin also does lawlessness, and sin is lawlessness. So what is lawlessness is the question, right? If you believe that Yeshua, Jesus, died on a stake for your sins so that you can have a way back to the Father and receive salvation and be forgiven, and you know that if you want to have received salvation, you have to repent. You need to now know what sin is, right? Sin simply is transgression of God's law. And his law is super basic. It's the guardrails of how to operate if you're his people. There's not one law for just this group of people or this race of people. According to the New Testament, let's go to it. We're going to go to Ephesians chapter 2 because this one ties it all together. This is what you're signing up for. If you believe and you call on the name, you will be saved, right? But if you're in the new covenant, you're no longer a Gentile believer. And that's what you need to understand, is who you are as a people. It's really, really, really important. Read who's in the new covenant. That's in it's in Hebrews chapter 8, starting in verse 8. But I want you to have some I want you to have some context. Because when I get into this, I'm going to read some stuff, and you may not comprehend it, but it's important for you to get a little piece of it. Just a little piece. Because if you lead somebody to salvation, but you don't teach them about repentance or about who they are because of their belief, have you really done them a service? Have you really taught them the truth? I would say probably not. So Ephesians chapter 2, if you got a Bible, crack it open. We're going to start in verse, that's Hebrews 8:8. That's what you want to read on the New Covenant. It's also directly quoted from the prophet Jeremiah 31:31 in the Old Testament. Let's see, we're almost there. We're almost there. This is the newer Bible. It's harder to flip through. Sorry, I'm quiet, y'all. Stand by. Getting there. Bro, am I like going retarded right now? I totally am. Tripping. Why are you tripping, boo? I don't know. No, not there. There it is. Got it. Finally. Okay. Back to where we were. All right. Let's see. One of you moderators, click on Neto Ocampo. Click on it. Go to his channel. See if he's got anything on there and how new his channel is. Because kind of feel a little body, but I want you to double check real quick. So if you got a wrench or if you're a moderator, tap on his thing, go to channel, look up his information. All right, so Ephesians chapter 2, starting in verse 11. Therefore, remember that you once Gentiles in the flesh, who are called the uncircumcision by what is called the circumcision, made in the flesh by hands. So Jews and Gentiles, right? God's people, regular people, worldly people, right? That at that time you were without Messiah, without Jesus, and excluded from the citizenship of Israel, and strangers to the covenants, plural, covenants of promise, and having no expectation, and without Elohim in the world, without God in the world. But now, in Yeshua Messiah, Jesus, right? The Christ. That's the Hebrew word for it. Yeshua Messiah. You, who were once far off, have been brought near by the blood of Messiah. So, before you were a believer, you were a Gentile, and you were excluded from the citizenship of Israel and strangers to the covenants of promise. Because if you believe in Messiah, you're not a stranger. You're now a citizen of Israel through your faith in Messiah. So understanding this, and if you want more depth on that, read the New Covenant and also read Romans chapter 11, where it talks about being grafted in. Very, very, very important context. Got it. Thanks, T. Appreciate you, fam. Also, if you've had a TBI, please let me know. Just put it in the chat and then we'll understand. We'll be a little more gentle with you. Nice. I don't see him anymore. I think he might have went night-night after I brought that up. He might have just dipped. Maybe, maybe not. Traumatic brain injury. I don't even know if that's how you say it. TB is a urinary tract infection. I don't know what I'm saying. You guys know what I mean. TBI. Yeah, I'm probably saying it wrong. Yeah, throttle body injection. That's what I meant. Just so we're clear. In case you got throttle body injection, then we know that your fuel injector is running a little bit slower than direct port injection. It's not quite as efficient. Just saying. Oh my goodness, bro. All right, so crickets on all that stuff. Nice. Well, he must have. Well, as soon as we start spitting some truth bombs, whoop, gonzies. You want the good idea fairy, the feel-good message, not the truth. Got you. It's all good, fam. That's what we expected. As soon as you start feeding a little truth, light and darkness don't go together. Anyhow. Whew. Run off some Muslims, run off some bots. What else is next? I don't even know if they're Muslims. They're definitely Islamists. Yeah, Islamists. I don't even bring it up, bro. Yeah, carb swapping. I would totally do that. All right, guys. Well, I'm winding down. Oh, I got man glitter all over these pants. Nice. He removed his picture. Nice. So he went there. Hold on a second. What you're telling me is, oh boy, went all. Dude, totally did. Oh my goodness. Yeah, let's do this really quick. We're going to just put hide user on this channel. Never again. Ta-da! Yeah, sorry, boss. Wasted too much time with you BSing. Took his picture off. Come on, guy. Really? It's like, oh no, people are gonna look into me. Yeah, he dipped quick when I said that, huh? Hey, go check him out. He's like, I gotta go. They're gonna see my face. Can't anymore, guys. I can't. Just wish we could just fight people. Like, just get it over with. Hey, come through real quick. This is my address. I'll see you in the parking lot. Fortunately, that's just not the way it is anymore, boys and girls. I mean, it can be. But I guarantee before the end of the weekend, I'm going to catch a case. Yeah, old school unfriending. Yeah, we're about to find out. Listen, I'm down, but you guys got to bail me out. That's all I'm saying. Yeah. Oh yeah, man, glitter, sawdust. Yeah, I was doing that earlier. Dude, Dudley showed up at the right time too. I had my chainsaw out on the tailgate of my truck, and it was right before, because it was a little overcast. It was right before it got cooking hot, and I was trying to put the new chain on. I was like, ah, it's a what's a 6.2, and I needed a 5.0 thickness on the chain. It wouldn't fit in the thing. Chain wouldn't fit in the bar. And I was like, dang it, man. I was just fixing it because I already filed. I took the rakers down and I tried to get the teeth right. And I went out and it cut a little bit better, but not great. I was kind of bummed out about it, and I filed the crap out of it. I didn't have the best file, but I was going for it. And no, I didn't. It didn't really do me. Didn't do me right. So, yeah, sad face. So I'm sitting there with it all taken apart, like, this blows. And then Dudley pulled up. I was like, oh, you want to borrow my saw? I'm like, you got it with you? He's like, maybe. So I just walked around him and went to the back of his side by side and grabbed it. Yeah, that thing rips. Be honest with you, 362 is probably one of my favorite chainsaws. I've run a bunch of them, and don't get me wrong, big saws are amazing. I haven't got a chance to run a 500i. I would probably love it. I love 462s. I love 362s. The 400s are pretty good. I feel like a 400 with a bark box and some dogs on it is pretty good, but it's really heavy, and it's got just enough size to it with like a 25-inch bar on it, just enough size to get you in trouble, and I don't think it has enough speed to get you out. Yeah, I think a 462 with a 25-inch bar is probably pretty good for most stuff that I'd mess with, like 36-inch trees. Yeah, I think that's probably it. Anything over that, just probably not gonna do it, or whatever. The best starter saw for learning. I would say a 261. Yeah, a 261 is the smallest professional grade saw you can get. Specifically a 261, I think is what it is. It's not a 260, it's not a 250, it's not a 271, because they change. There's a bunch of homeowner models in there, but there's a 261, I believe is the number, and it rips for a small saw. It's better than the Farm Boss, the 250 or 251. Those are good saws. They're not bad. They'll work. But that 261, sheesh. Yeah, the little mods you can do the muffler on those, they rip. Who had one? Scuba Rob had one on a deployment in Mississippi. Scuba Rob had that. And I grabbed his little saw and I started ripping on it. I was like, ooh, this thing's light and it gets after it. I was pretty impressed. But like the bigger the saws, the more heavy they get. Like you would think, when I say a 362, you would think, well, a 390, right? A 390 is probably better than the 362. It's not. It's totally not. It's heavy. It's slower. It just doesn't, it's not the same machine. Like there's specific ones that they got dialed in. And 362, I probably should go pawn shop. I swear I saw one at a pawn shop. But even at a pawn shop, they wanted way more than what, I wanted to put into it. I think 362s, if you Google it, they're expensive. They're like $800 or $900. They're expensive. But they're the lifetime saw, and you're going to be able to cut anything with it. Big trees, little trees, small saws. You can do a lot with a small saw. I'll be honest with you. I bought, I had some small Husqvarnas. I've got buddies who have cut up hundreds of trees with very small steel chainsaws, like a 170, which you can buy at a pawn shop for like $200 if you want to get a little baby one, all day long. And they're not bad saws. They're gonna fire up when you want. So I bought. I'm not gonna get the 170. I got a 211. Yeah, 1200. Yeah, they're a grip. So I got a 211 chainsaw, and I was like, yeah, it's bigger than that 170. It's a 211. It was like $500, and I was sad face when I started running big saws. I was like, damn, what a waste of money. This is a little baby saw, and the 170 would have been fine for little baby stuff. It's not even enough of a jump up. Now I do have a 311, which is a pretty good size homeowner saw, but it does not have the same RPM as the 362. Not even close. 362 is professional grade. They can get all kinds of upgrades for them. You can get bark boxes for them, which is an exhaust modification, which gives it, they're bad to the bone. It gives it some horsepower. You can get West Coast dogs for it. I mean, you can put all. I dig in my George. I got dogs for my 311, but it's like you got to modify them a little bit to make them work. And they're cool. I like dogs when you're cutting wood because you get to stab them in there, and then you can kind of pivot on them. They're nice, and it keeps it from bucking back on. They're there for a reason. Those are the spikes on the front of the chainsaw, if you don't know what I'm talking about. And they're very dramatic. They go from like factory, like this big, to the aftermarket, which are like 5 times as big. Yeah, massive. It's like now it's a weapon, right? And you gotta be really careful when you put stuff like that on there if you don't do this stuff, because you'll sling that thing back or stab yourself in the thigh when you get done cutting and you swing your saw back and get it out of the way. This will rip your jeans open. Ask me how I know. Yeah, and chainsaw chaps are really good, especially if you're a beginner and you're learning and you're in like a little bit of a sketchy situation. I don't like them personally because they restrict my movement, and I'm already slow, so I don't like them that much. You know what, Wolf? That's a good point. Electric chainsaws are phenomenal. You're not going to be dropping a lot of really big stuff with them. And the chains are a little expensive and pretty small. So I would say for a small amount of work, electric chainsaw would go okay. For just kind of getting a feel for it, but they don't have the RPM. And they're not going to have, you're not going to, if you start trying to, if you cut a whole tree up on one chain on electric, you probably are going to have the dullest chain on the planet. It's probably going to tear your stuff up. And they're all right, but you can get a DeWalt or a Milwaukee chainsaw, small 16-inch bar, and you can cut up quite a bit of stuff with them. And they're great for small stuff, but you can't run them all day. I don't think so. I think you're going to go through chains, and the chains are tiny, so they're not the same file size. Everything about them is different. It's all specialty stuff. Just get a steel, dude. It'll fire up. I've got one in the back of my truck. It's been sitting there for years. Nobody'd even steal it because it looks like a pile of crap, and I could pull it out right now, yank it about 3-4 times, and it's going to fire up, and it's going to work. That's what I like about steel. If it was a Husqvarna, a Poland, a Ryobi, or whatever, it would not start. Steel, it'll start. Yeah, exactly. And don't get me wrong, I can run a chainsaw. I could take a 16-inch electric chainsaw, and I could probably notch out a pretty good 2-foot tree, 2-foot base tree. I could probably take that little baby saw and cut me a big tree down, right? Probably not a sketchy one. If it was, pretty straight, there was nothing for it to fall back, I could fall it probably where I want it to fall, but I'd have to work my butt off. And I'd have to have some wedges, and I'd have to really make sure I got it to go the way I want it to go, pay attention to the wind, look at the lean. I'm not going to turn it. I'm not going to do a lot of stuff I'd be able to do. It's like if it's got a natural lean one direction and it's a clear shot, that's probably the way I'd have to have it go. And I'm not a professional saw guy, but like I can do stuff like when I'm mid cut on my back cut on a tree, when I'm dropping it, I can get the tree to turn if I want it to turn. Yeah, because I just cut one on more on one side of my back cut than the other, and it'll hold the wedge wood, the holding wood, and you cut the other side and it's taking it out. If you cut this side, the tree's gonna turn, it's gonna fall this way faster. So you get it to turn. And if you do it the other way, it'll do this way, right? And so like learning how to steer a tree when you want it to turn just a little bit, or if it's got a heavy branch and you know it's gonna turn, so you make it turn, or you cut more of that side so it still stays and it doesn't twist all the way. Yeah, there's tricks to it. Don't try this at home, folks. And if you do it all the time or a whole bunch, you kind of get used to it. You kind of learn what to expect, but you'll still get surprised. There's plenty of trees professional guys get surprised on. You start cutting them and they do weird stuff. Right? The thing about the really big saws that's nice is that they rip so hard that you can cut with a big bar. You can cut through giant logs really fast. And when I say fast, it's not like a laser beam. It's not like shoo, like a ninja sword. It's like it takes some work, right? But like if you use a baby saw, let's say you get an 18-inch bar. Like that's your first saw, you get an 18-inch bar. And you want to cut a 24-inch tree, which is a pretty big tree for beginners, right? You want to cut a 24-inch tree down. You're going to be cutting your ass off trying to get just your wedge cut out of it. You're going to cut here, you're going to cut here, you're going to cut here, then you're going to cut here, and then you're going to have to clean it up, and then you're going to have to clean it up again, and then maybe your wedge will come out. And then your back cut's going to be the same thing. You're going to have to cut it pretty good on one side, but not all the way into your holding wood. Like get to where it's got enough hinge wood there. And then you're going to have to go to the other side and start getting it to fall. You ain't going to be able to chase it. So it better be on a natural lean, because the little baby saws that are short, they just don't do the big stuff. And you will get yourself in a pinch. The wind changes direction and you're doing your back cut, and all of a sudden that little cut that you cut in the back of the tree and your saw blade, your bar's in there, and the wind changes and now it's pinching your blade and it ain't coming out. The tree sat down on it. You better have another saw or a piece of heavy equipment or a come along on it already, thrown up with a big rigging rope, cranking it down the direction you want it to fall. There's a million things to do. Just don't do it by yourself. Have somebody that at least knows more than you with you. Try someone else's own. Don't do that. Yeah, sharpening sucks, because if you got like a 20-inch bar, you have what, 72 teeth on there? Is that what it is? That's 72 teeth. And it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's like a pretty good little session of filing, right? And if you got to take the rakers down, oh, yeah. And you got to get good at it, because there's going to be times when you file and it doesn't do any good. It actually made it worse because you're still trying to figure out how to do it. Yeah. Matter of fact, Tristan, that property that I probably on that property alone have cut down probably 50 trees, easy. And there's probably 400 left. So many trees. Maverick's been on some big jobs where I had like a 60-foot pine tree, 60, 70-foot pine tree. It was maybe like 24 inches, maybe. But it was like 10 feet away from somebody's cabin. And I had to drop it. And he was on some jobs with me, and Man, it was not that fun because the stress of if the wind changes direction, all I've got is this 3/4 inch bull rope, rigging rope hooked onto a skid steer pulling. And if something happens, I just bought these people a new cabin, right? Like I don't want to have to do that. So yeah, not the biggest thing. Later, Lens. Love you, sis. Probably see you tomorrow. Sharpening trick. There's all kinds of sharpening tricks, bro. I'll be honest with you, man. On like my homeowner stuff, I'm about to just get electric just because I was done with it. If I was doing it professionally, yeah, sure. I just wanted to get it done fast, is all. And I'm rough on stuff. Like I hit the dirt or I hit rocks or I always catch some kind of, there was some kind of barbed wire or nail in the tree that I never saw and I eat a whole chain up. So it's like, at that rate, it's just whatever. No axe for me. Dude, listen, I chopped down one tree. It wasn't even that big. Wasn't even that big. And I got about probably 3/4 of the way through the tree and there was no sign of it coming down and I'm like dying. And it was oak tree, it was hardwood, right? And I was like, what was it, like a 14 inch tree? Not that big, like, let's see, about like this, right? Not that big, like maybe the size of like a 5-gallon bucket. Never again. It's just not a thing. If it was softwood, probably not a big deal. A pine or something like that, cedar, yeah, not a big deal. That's different. Those will cut pretty good, especially if you got something sharp. You can take some pretty big chunks. They'll pop off of there. Hardwood, hell no, never again. Unless it's the end of the world and that's the only way we're getting it down. I'm just not doing it. What's up, Heath? What are you doing, bro? I almost called to see if you wanted to go live together tonight so we could just yell at the internet, but didn't happen. Over here herding the cats by myself. Well, yeah, I think, what have we been on here? What's the time? Jeez Louise. It says I've been on here for 158 minutes. I don't know how to add that up, but it seems like I've been on here for a while. But we don't have a lot of bots. We had a couple of Islamists or whatever they're called. We had one super rando bot that as soon as I said check his channel out, he dipped. Yeah, I tried to squeeze in a couple videos this week. I've been so busy, I just ain't had time. Then I was supposed to pour concrete today, Heath. And what did it do this morning? Mucho lluvia. Yeah, it rained. 2 hours and 38 minutes. Oh, we've been on here for a minute. Sweet. Don't quit. All right. I'll hang in there just a little bit longer. We'll see. I'm drinking soda, so whatever. Just send it. Listen, bro, we need the rain too. We haven't had much. It was 108 last week. Been 105. Yeah, it's been too hot. It's just super duper hot and dry, and it's usually humid here. It's been dry. Worked on this thing all week, prepping it to pour today. Ordered the concrete, had to call and cancel it at for my 9 o'clock delivery. I canceled at 7:30 this morning. Yeah, the temp dry. It was, bro. I was out there cutting firewood and splitting firewood. Yeah, it was nice. Oh man, I drank all the drinks. Okay, I drank all that and all of that. Okay, I drank everything, and I haven't taken a potty break yet. Does that tell you anything? And I don't have to go potty. I'm good. Dehydrated. Yeah, I probably should get some more of those salts. Yeah. It's hard for me on the hydration salts because they're really hard on my kidneys. If I'm super dehydrated, I can pound one and it won't hurt me, but if I do them all the time, it's really not good for my kidneys. It's hard on them. Like everything that's in them is like bad for your kidneys if you have kidney problems. Your eyes yellow. Oh yeah, dude, I had bought this truck and it cost a grip, and then had to get the motor rebuilt, and that cost the grip. And then I had the truck back from the shop for like a month or two, and then the AC went out at it. And oh, I was so bummed because I was like, yeah, the first time I had AC in like 5 years, and then the AC went out, and it was out for a year. And I finally got it fixed about, I guess, a month ago. What I didn't know is there's a filter, inline filter in that system, and that filter was clogged up. That's all it was. And it's like this little nozzle, it's got a filter, and then through the filter it kind of sprays as it's fluid, and then it turns into gas, and that filter was caked. So I had to drain all the stuff out of it, which was just like hit the Schrader valve and let it out. And then I know it's for the environment, right? We're gonna have a new heaven and a new earth anyhow. It's fine. Let it all out, which I'd already put a bunch of cans in. It's nothing, nothing worked. Changed out wiring harnesses to the whole system, you name it. Took the washer off the clutch. Did all the little hacks you can do on Super Duties. And then finally I was like, saw this, and this guy's like, I tried everything, nothing worked. And I found this one thing, and I was like, man, that's a gamble to do it because I have to refill this whole system. Dude, no doubt. $2 part at O'Reilly's. It was $2. I did have to buy the little quick release. I think it was a 3/4 inch quick release, like a fuel line quick release thing release. And I did that and hooked it up, put some stuff in there. Been cold AC, man. I've been so blessed. It's been excellent. Renewed. Yeah, it's been excellent because I tell you what, driving home after a long day of working in the heat with no AC, by the time I got home, I was so cranky. Now when I get home, it's not that bad because I'm already kind of cooled off from the drive because nothing's close to my house. Everything's 30 minutes or more. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I would say that what I used to be when I was younger, I am not now with age. I would not get cold easy, and I would not get hot easy. And that is just not the case. And in my situation, I was working on TJ's house like 4 years ago, and I was working on his team room, and I was putting some really cool milled pine siding up, and I got cooked in the heat one day. I mean, I got so cooked. Um, I mean, super cooked. Like overheating, like starting to see spots, got dizzy, and I don't get nausea, but I started to feel a little weird. And and T's like, "Hey man, have you been drinking water?" I'm like, "Yeah, I think so." And I said, "I'm just hot." And he saw it. I was just like bright red and like breathing hella weird, like really breathing heavy. And he's like, "Come here, man." He made me pound a bunch of Gatorade, put a fan on me. He's like, "Sit here." Came back with some trial oil. He's like, "Here, drink this. Like maybe just chill out for like an hour or so." And I finally cooled down. And ever since then, the heat does it. I can't, if I get to a certain point, it just smokes me. And then I'm like pretty much ruined. So I got to be real careful, like with getting like heat exhaustion. Yeah, it's not hard for me to get there anymore. It kind of sucks. Yeah, 94. Oof. But I did live off grid, and it was pretty dang hot in the camper. Pretty dang hot in the camper, man. And we'd run the generator and get the AC, and then the AC crapped out at certain points. We were trying to run a window unit to cool the whole camper, and it was, middle of the day. It was 90 degrees in there, and it was only, like a couple degrees different from inside, and it was humid, and the air wasn't. It was rough. And there was plenty of nights where my sweat and a little rechargeable fan was the only thing that kept me cool. I just had it blowing directly on me while I was sleeping. That was it. That was all we had. Love you too, brother. Catch you later. Justin, what's up, bro? Late to the game, but he's here. Miss your face, bro. Yeah, it's just like probably time for me to go check on the littles because they haven't made a peep, and that might be a little scary. So I'm probably going to jump off of here, guys. Probably at the point. Well, you just got to know your limitations, man. And one thing, if you're living kind of off grid, if you've got the money to do it, I highly recommend, for a sustainable way for staying cool, is to do geothermal cooling for the summertime. Because if you can do some kind of like 12-inch pipe, or even a bunch of smaller pipes, and do at least 100 feet of that subsurface, 4 feet or deeper, you can get geothermal cooling and pump it into your cabin or even into your camper. It really, really works, because if you get down to that depth, like 4 to 6 feet, the temperature of the soil is only about 56 degrees. And it'll stay 56 degrees in the winter, and it'll stay 56 degrees in the summer. So no matter what, it's above freezing, and it's way tremendously cooler than it is outside. If you can pump that cool air into your house through a couple of filters and a couple of like rechargeable fans, and pump that cool air, put a screen on one side so the bugs aren't coming in. That's it, man. Yeah, that's a really, really good way to do it. And a lot of guys, like early settlers, they dug down into the earth, into hillsides, so that they could have that cooling inside. And that's how they did homesteads. They would dig down, and like they'd always have shade trees over their little get downs, because it's the only way you can do it. Where are you? I'm in my room. That's where I am. No, you're frost lined up. Yeah, if you live somewhere where it freezes, man, really hard, and you have a lot of snow in the wintertime, your summer's probably not going to be as dramatic as it is where I'm at. Yeah, you can do it anywhere. They do it in the desert. You can do it anywhere. It's the same everywhere. It's just how you do it may vary depending on what zone you're in. Here, the biggest thing that you got to consider is that when you do that type of cooling, and you have humidity going into your inlet on that pipe, it's going to create condensation really bad. It's going to make a dew point happen at the beginning of that pipe. And so if your pipe doesn't have a runoff, you can get a bunch of funky stuff growing in there. Now you can fog it with like some bleach products a couple times a year just to keep anything from growing and pumping stuff into your thing. But off-grid stuff's messy. It's not super clean if you're into like, yeah, it's just not. I mean, you can if you got a ton of money, you can make it clean. Zach Bauer stuff, it's top notch, but I know he dumped a bunch of money into his homestead, and it took him a long time. It's not like that and you're done. Like homesteads are never ending because it's trial and error. .72 degrees. Florida might be a little bit different. I would say probably because it's a peninsula, and that peninsula is going to be like, what's the water temperature? Deep, right? Like, so what's the water temperature? So I would say that's a little bit different in a tropical area, but for the most part, you're probably going to get what you want. And it depends where you're at in Florida too. 15 feet. I mean, is it 72 degrees because it's a huge hole and it's open? Or like when you dig down a skinny hole that doesn't have a bunch of sunshine and air in it, when you get to that 6 foot depth, is it that? And it may vary, you know, you might have to go a little deeper in certain areas too. No, not looked into heat sink fans. Yeah, so my buddy David Barb, he made a really, really cool storm shelter out of railroad ties, and I am highly considering making something like that. Now, if you buy railroad ties, you don't get them for free. It's going to be pretty expensive. I think he crunched the numbers, and it was like $4,000 in railroad ties alone to do what he did. But he got a bunch of his stuff for free because he had the hookup. And I think a lot of people, you can find deals and you can find the hookup. Now you might have to pick through to get good ones. And it's also like, could you imagine loading, what do you use, like 110 of them or something? I don't know, he used a tremendous amount of them. But he made this really cool storm shelter. And I kind of was like, maybe. Yeah, catnips. That's right. Old catnips. All right, y'all. I'm jumping off here. We'll catch y'all later. This is the Shalom Lanch for real. Appreciate you guys hanging in there. What a good show, man. I appreciate you guys. Shabbat Shalom. Remember the Sabbath.